Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Cora, and today we are going to be remaking my laundry room. It is in desperate need for a makeover because when I redid my master bedroom, as you saw, that was my hoard all space where I was kind of keeping stuff in transition, and then I ended up moving everything into the laundry room. So it got cleaned out and it is getting a nice fresh coat of paint. This is one of those magnolia paint colors from the Joanna Gaines line, but Ace did it in a different brand for me because I couldn't find the type of paint that I specifically wanted. I wanted a nice kind of semi-gloss paint that would be nice and waterproof and sealed, and also kind of a moisture barrier because it's going to be in the laundry room where I do get kind of heated with the dryer and the washer and all the stuff. So there's kind of some moisture that does come in here, even with the vent and stuff. So I did want to have a non-flat type paint because I didn't want handprints and things to just be, or oils from people coming in through the garage to just be stuck to the walls. So what I'm doing here is I am starting out by going in and I'm hand painting in the trim or cutting in, and I find that it's easier when you have popcorn ceiling to do it by hand than to do tape because the different bumps and such just kind of make it more difficult. You don't get a straight line and it's more noticeable. And then I went ahead and I went down and I did the trim. And yes, this trim needs to be pulled out and it needs to be painted and redone, but we have yet to finish pulling up the tile in this particular room as we're transitioning our wooden floors that we are installing throughout the whole house. They haven't yet made it into here because pulling up tile is a pain in the butt. And the amount of dust that it covers is just a task, and so I have to prepare for that one, both mentally, physically, and I need to kind of figure out a way to seal off the rest of the rooms in the back part of the house so that the dust and stuff doesn't kind of cover everything and clog up our vents. So anyways, moving on, we're going to slap on some of this paint here. It is a nice subtle sagey green color, which is very different for me. As you know, this house has been mostly gray colors. We stick to grays, blacks, and whites. But for some reason, I just wanted a little pop of color in here. I wanted something to kind of get me in the mood, but kind of keep me still relaxed and not frustrated and aggravated by all the laundry that I have to do. So I went with this nice green color. I thought it would be a nice back to nature, make me feel good, relaxed, linen kind of, I don't know. You know what I'm saying. Anywho, so we had to move out the washer and dryer after I painted as much as I could. Here it is starting to dry, so you can see the difference in the color where it's a little lighter and a little darker where it was drying. So it did dry a little darker than it applied, which is beautiful. I love it. And so some of the next things that we're going to do is I'm going to start, while this is drying, I'm going to go and start making some decorative type pieces. So we cut out some things here. I'm going to be making 2 shelves that are that long rectangle size. And then I'm going to be using these other things here on the right and just some of my old scrap paints to kind of just make some, I don't know, little hanging art, decor, whatever pieces. And so I'm using a black chalky type paint here, and then I'll probably seal that since those are going to be my shelves. And then I'm going to be using different shades of kind of lavender and plum, and purples and grays and stuff, just to kind of bring in those other colors and tones from the rest of the house. And I'll definitely have a lot of gray and black accents, as you'll see. For most of the supplies that we're using for this makeover, it's already stuff that we have on hand. All of this wood that we're using is all scrap wood. All of the paint is all paint that I've had on hand from projects that we've done. Even the hardware that I'm using to hold up the shelves, the hardware for what we are going to be using to hang stuff, all of these frames that I've had from the dollar store, everything is going to be costing us nothing. For instance, I decided I wanted some signs that say wash, dry, fold, repeat. So I decided to just literally print them out, pretty basic, in a nice font that I like, center it up on my printer, and then I printed it out. I made sure that it was in landscape, that it was scaled to 100, and that it was at the center of the page, and then I printed it out. I printed 4 different ones because I happen to have 4 frames on hand. I'm pretty sure I picked those up at the Dollar Tree for $1 a piece, and they've just been sitting in one of my shelves for a few years actually. So now they're finally gonna get some use. So I went ahead and I printed them out. Yes, repeat is a little smaller, and I wish I'd gone back and kind of scaled the other words smaller to make it all fit, but you know, another day, another time. So I went ahead and popped those in, and then I'm going to hang up these pictures on the back wall that was kind of just plain and didn't have anything on it. So I'm just using some simple little nails to tack these in. And of course, the last one that I go to hang That's right. Shattered. And the irony of the fact that it's the word repeat is not lost on me. So I hot glued that sucker back together, and we're talking, that thing is so hot glued, it's probably sturdier than any of these other frames that are still hanging on. And I might even go back and just hot glue them in case. And yes, I almost repeated it and dropped it again. But anywho, after we got those hung up on the wall, it was time to move on. And now that our little plaques and such are dried, I'm going to go ahead and start stenciling on just some little letters with those stencils that I've used in the past. If you want to see how I've done that, you can go back and check the pantry video and you'll see where I like just kind of stick on these little stencils, paint over them, and pull it off. So I made a lost socks sign that I'll put over a little bucket so I can stick my lost socks in there. I did a little flower here, and then now we're going to drill some holes to hang the shelves. Now we tried to find some studs, but they weren't really spaced well for us in all of the locations, so we're using like these little, I don't know what you call them, little wall hanger thingies, and they help to give it support in the wall so it doesn't pull out the holes in our drywall. We've noticed that our drywall tends to be very sensitive, so we need these specific types are the only ones that tend to work for us. They hold up to like 25 for the skinnier ones, pounds of weight, and then 50 pounds for the thicker ones. So we tend to use those a lot when we're working on our projects in the house, and then we just screw our projects directly into those little things there. We always try to check to make sure everything is level. Now, of course, our walls are not always level, so it makes things difficult, and also using scrap boards doesn't always guarantee that we're going to have a level board, because sometimes there can be bowing due to moisture and other things. All right, so let's move on to the next one. So for the next shelf, since I have a top load washer and not a front loader, I needed the shelf to be up a little bit higher. So I went ahead and I put one of the little boards on the side, and then I laid my shelf up there, measured with the level to kind of give myself a little pencil mark, and then I went ahead and I applied all of the rest of the framing around the back and the sides, stuck it on there, again checking, make sure it is level, and then it is time to move on to the next one. Now I do really like having this one shelf here because it gives me a lot of working space, and it kind of clears up everything that I was kind of having on the floor or just sitting kind of on top of the washer and dryer. So now no longer anything will be on there. Next, I want to kind of clear up this little space here, and I have a little laundry sorter, but it is an 18-inch wide, but I only have a approximately 13 and a half inch wide space. So I'm going to go ahead and trim the wide little pieces there from the 18 down to the 15 using this saw. I found that the thinner little finer blade cut it more like butter, and the more rigid saw blade was a little more rough on the edges. So once I trimmed those down, I was able to then assemble this thing, and it came out pretty easy. They're all marked A, B, C, D, E, F, G, da, 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 da. Comes with the little nets. You just put it all together, and then it's really easy too, because the bottom of the little, what I'm going to call a little elbow there, it shows you like right where the wheel goes, so you can kind of use that as your guide when you're popping it all together. So once I got all of those wheels popped in and you flip it over, it comes with these little straps that you can put at the base to help keep the sacks or bags from falling when you have laundry in them. It kind of gives them a little bit of structure underneath. Sketch is helping me supervise, of course. And then next we're going to add these little spacer clips to the top that help the nets kind of to hang in space evenly. So of course Sketch is telling me I need to tighten the bag. I know, he's one step ahead of me. So once I get all three of those bags in, you'll see here that it's all finished. And it was really quick. It took me like 2 minutes, if that, to assemble, and that's just because I had to open up the packages. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I have such a small space there. Originally, I was only able to fit like one little basket in between. So now having a 3-part organizer will help me stay more organized with whites, colors, and say heavy soils. Next, moving on, I'm going to be hanging up this mirror. Something that I really like to use in a lot of the house decor and hanging stuff are these little monkey hooks. They're also really good for renters if you don't want to leave like big holes or drill or do a lot of stuff. So I do recommend monkey hooks. Something that I really also wanted to hang up was some sort of a laundry rack. So I'm going to be using these 2 little rods that I got from IKEA. I think they were like $5 a piece, and I picked those up years ago. So they've kind of just been sitting here. Didn't know what I was going to do with them. Originally I was going to use them in like a closet, but I didn't. And I picked up another little elbow thingy PVC thing, and that's what I'm going to hot glue that together. I put my little things up there, and once I put those in, I'm going to be using this chain and these little kind of hook thingies that I also had. Everything here I kind of just had on hand, so I'm winging it. And then I'm using this little hardware that you stick up in the roof like this, and it kind of like butterflies open, so that when you pull down on it, those little like wings will open up so that you can no longer pull it down. It's stuck up there. So then in order to tighten it, you just spin it up in there, because you pull a little pressure down and it tightens it. So what I did is I used those washers to give me like a little space to hook this in, my little chain, and then it's hanging on there, which that little elbow is hot glued those two rods into in the inside there to kind of hold it all together and keep it from spinning around or anything. And it's up there pretty good. It's actually really solid. I was able to hang, I think I've hung 10 garments soaking wet, and it still has not fallen or budged or made any kind of issues. So I'm pretty happy with it. Next, I'm going to go ahead and finish up those plaques that I had finished prepping. Once they were dry, I'm going to go ahead and use some more stencils and just come up with some more designs. I'll make like a laundry sign here where I just use 2 tones to kind of cover up. I started with a lighter base, and now I'm going over with a darker color over the top. These are just some techniques that my mom taught me when I was a kid, different ways to get different looks and effects by using multiple colors and just using your brush and kind of manipulating the color the way that you want. I'm a big fan of stencils to get precision, and I really feel you can't go wrong by using them. Next, I'm going to throw up a little bit of decor, and also I found an old jar in my garage which I had previously used for something, and it has been sitting there rusting for years. And let me just tell you, Mrs. Meyer's multi-surface spray, that is a miracle cleaner. I used like the lavender scented one, sprayed it on, and it cleaned it up beautifully. I mean, I couldn't even get this thing to budge open. It took me 10 minutes. I was really like being ego there with myself trying to get it open and not wanting to ask my husband. I sprayed some of that Mrs. Meyer's into the lid, and I got that lid open in 2 seconds. So if you need a rust remover, Mrs. Meyer's has got your back. Next, I'm using like thumbtacks, literally thumbtacks, to hang up some of those decor pieces. This little flower stencil thing is one of the pieces that I did, and I kind of mirrored it on that other sign that says laundry, because I wanted to just bring in some of those colors that I kind of have going throughout the house. I also picked up some spray paint, or my hubby did, some of this like stainless steel spray paint that we were thinking of doing the washer and dryer in, but we're not sure yet how it's going to do. It's something we're going to experiment, and we might do another video on that, on painting appliances. So here is a quick before to remind you of what this nasty laundry room looked like, and yeah, it was a hot mess. And here's a little after. Of course, I will change the decor out probably quite a bit as I just, I don't know, find things that I want here or there, but I really do love how it came out. I also, on the back side here, I wanted functionality, and I got it. I have shelves for the products that I use for the cleaning, racks to hang clothes. I've got the thing for my missing socks because they always go missing, not sure why. And we can now get out to the garage easier. It's not like tripping over things. And then as far as like the signs that I made with the dollar frames, those came out beautifully. And then I just hung this little hanger thing that says, like, you know, my name that I got at our wedding from as a gift. And I just love it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I'll throw some more videos in here for some ideas if you guys want to check it out at the end screen. And also, we threw up a podcast this week, my husband and I. Right now, it's only available on YouTube at our podcast channel, Cora and Cole Podcast. And I also have it linked to my playlist under Cora's Creative Corner. You'll find another playlist called Podcast. So if you wanted to check that out and get a little sample of that and let us know what you think, or if you'd be interested in hearing more, we'd greatly appreciate you guys' feedback. Hopefully you'll find it entertaining. And here's a little snippet for you guys to check out.
Whatever that stuff is called.
Oh, yeah, I did that for you.
For you?
For you. For you, Marshmallow.
What were we talking about?
I don't know. I think we lost it.
Yeah.
Cars, preventive maintenance, YouTube channel, music. And I think growing up, when we did in the 90s, really, which was the 90s and 2000s, we were blessed with some really awesome
The
music.
best music.
The best.
The best.
And I think that's kind of